your mind.
You require my assistance? Bingo! We're gonna be rich.
I have no time for games.
Inferno!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tavern Talk. We are back. My name is Dr. Fish. I am your op for the show, and alongside me, we will have J.R. Juggerlaw, who will be here in a little bit. He'll be a little bit late, but nonetheless, he'll be here to help us out. And also alongside me, I have our other co-host. We have Geranium Battle. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I am described as a part element and part flower, but 100% part of this casting crew. Yeah, I'm having a great time, and honestly, like the just the way all the matches shake up. We've got undefeated team versus undefeated team in certain series, and a lot of upsets happened last week too. So it's the beginning of this THL season is so hype. So I'm glad we can talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. We've got quite a lot to talk about us, and we want to keep this kind of as brief as possible. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into things and pull up our first match. I'm actually going to change the match from what it is on here, and we'll go with your hero match, which you picked at Diamond versus LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, at Diamond versus LeBron is crazy. Like if you pitch to me what we're going to be maybe the two strongest teams going into the season, I would have picked I like in Purple Conference I would have picked these two. Obviously that hasn't shaken up to be that way. LeBron is at the very bottom of the conference, and with a 0-3, and at Diamond is 1-2 right now. Just some unfortunate performances from some of the players, and we see but we see that that still Based Inc. and Always Just in Time and the One are both 2-1. They're both performing very well in Hero. Turtle versus Nails are both very equal here, and I think are both going to bring a lot of power. I mean, Turtle usually performs a lot better in Hero than he does in the other series, even though he originally was from Wild. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't think any of these are out of the question for either side. So I'm very interested in seeing the result of this, but I will give the edge to at Diamond.
Yeah, I think I think for LeBron to win this week, it's really weird to see Astro Frog off to such a difficult start. Based in Nails, like they're gonna face difficult opponents every single week in the 1 and 2. So it's not unheard that Nails is 1-2. I'm glad he's gotten a win on the season. I think he was struggling at the start. And if LeBron wants to, kind of move up the ranking, the standings, the bottom 3 are going to definitely have to perform. I think it can start this week. I think I could definitely see it being slightly at diamond favorite on paper. I think my most interesting matchup is going to see which of the 5 seed players going to win this week. Because Roadrunner last season, I think, had only about 3 losses all season. So to have 3 early losses is really surprising. And Superbuck is I don't know much about. He's one of Turtle's friends. I think getting used to the format, getting used to THL for sure. We'll do him well.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's Roadrunner had 2 very very different seasons, one after the other.
Yeah.
He went from sort of a mediocre season where he had very few wins to one where he had very few losses. So it's still early on in the season, and I think it could go either way for him. But to see him start off like this is not very inspiring.
Yeah. For sure. I want to see. Obviously, I'd love to see just a good performance out of LeBron. Even if they lose, I want to see them get points. Like 26 points after 3 weeks is obviously, like you said, something we would not have expected. They're under 10 points a week, and I suspect that probably doesn't obviously hold. I think Justin versus Base is a marquee matchup, and fortunately, we're gonna get to see that on spoilers. We're gonna get to see that on stream tomorrow night. So looking forward to that out of these 2 matches. Out of this match in particular. So why don't we go ahead and pull out our next match in Hero. We have No Pros here versus The Unknown, which is the matchup that I picked. So specific, just down the line, we have Agent PWE versus Heat Shock. We have Skittles versus Magnificent. We have Your Mum Kid versus Chewy. Posca versus Thalfix. And Clarity versus Gymphalos. So it looks like this week Heat Shock is coming in as a sub for, I believe, was Molstar, who's now the 1 seed for The Unknown. So yeah. I'm interested to see how he'll do.
It's looking like The Unknown is just like pick a very very good player and just put him in the 1 this week.
Gotcha.
Is sort of how it's been going the past few weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean Heat Shock is going to do well. In the 1, he's been in the 1 and doing well in Hero like all last season. Unfortunately, voted some confidence sort of disbanded. So he was free, just like how Molestar was free after becoming a mole hole.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, how's it going? Hello, JR.
I was gonna say, Heat Shock is definitely I think we've discussed him plenty of times as one of the most, I would say, like dependable players, one of the most consistent players. Yeah. Especially in the 1 seed, which there's a lot of hefty competition in that place. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he still manages to stand out, despite the fact that it's also worth noting, he's not somebody who we've seen play every season. He often kind of switches it up in terms of which series he decides to stick with. Yeah. He's pretty consistent with Pro, obviously, but in terms of Hero and Legacy, we definitely don't see him. It seems like we see him alternating between those every season, more or less, at least.
Yeah.
And then like after Agent Pew and Heat Shock, I mean the 2s and 3s for these teams are absolutely cracked. Skittles and Magnificent.
Skittles is almost 550 again.
Yeah, they should both be 1 seeds in their respective teams, and then Your Mum Kid and Chewy should also be heavy contenders for 1 seeds as well. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, it should be noted, Skittles is a 4 seed in Legacy right now, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I think Skittles also takes some seasons off from various series, but I think he tends to play Hero more than the rest. But yeah, this is I think every match down the line here is pretty interesting. We already see classes for Skittles and Magnificent, and there are mirrors, Druid, Mage, Rogue, and Shaman each. So that'll obviously come down to lineup building. Those a bunch of those classes have some real flexibility. So otherwise, geez, this is a clash of titans for Hero Series. Like two of the highest scoring, probably the two highest scoring teams by points. I
It's
I
also good to mention that Clarity is doing well in Pro even.
Yeah.
So like Clarity is
Clarity's playing good
a
Hearthstone.
5 seed and 2-1, and he's also 2-1 in Pro. So
Mhm.
like he even though he doesn't have 100% like Jimmy clutches
Yeah.
right now. Literally every single one of these seeds is a very good competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say, as one of Clarity's biggest defenders, I was definitely very nervous when I found out he was joining Pro, but very happy to see that you really can't go by PR in this league. When push comes to shove, players are capable of a lot of things. So good for him for really managing to thrive in pretty much every environment right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be it's nice to see a lot of people doing well in various series, regardless of where they're seated in the PR series for sure. Yeah, I don't really have I don't know if I could necessarily call this match on the fly. I probably say No Pros here has a slight advantage, but I mean it's like it'll be a super fun match to keep track of throughout the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say No Pros here gets a 3-2 victory, but it could very well be a tie.
Gotcha. That'd be interesting. More ties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think every time we say how unlikely a tie happens, one seems to like pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, there's been a lot of ties across all of THL this season, so for sure, it's definitely interesting. If we don't have if you guys have anything else to say on here, we can move to JR's match. I held off on it until you got here, my friend.
I was gonna say I knew you wouldn't have to be delayed much from that, so thank you. Yeah. But no, I think you did a great job covering. This is definitely an exciting match. I haven't had a chance to say this up until this point, but I think it's really cool that Desharmo decided to bring his pro team basically from bring his team from pro into hero. So, and considering the players he managed to get, it's a pretty strong looking team. No questions about that. All right, I'm ready to talk about my match. I managed to come up with an excuse to talk about my hero team franchise without talking about my match itself. That, of course, being APM Yang versus F2L Black. But in fairness, I think this is a match certainly worth talking about, despite the fact that one match has already been played. Of course, Itachi versus KSW. With Itachi, I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with, and he gets his first win of the season in Hero, sweeping KSW, who is no slouch for sure. Definitely putting APM Yang in a rough position to start off, but I definitely think they could bring it back. F2L Black is finding themselves, in a pretty solid position right now. You've of course got Rabobson and Dr. Fish, our co-host himself, with a fantastic 3-0 start. And I'm not going to say anything that's going to jinx Fish because I refuse to do that, but I just got to say I think he's going to keep it up. I think he's got a good season ahead of him. But then, of course, you've also got Chewbacca in the 4, Itachi in the 3, and Neji Boston. I don't think I've ever seen Neji be 0-3 before.
Last season in Hero.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. He started 0-4.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
But it's still, considering how many series this guy competes in every single season and how consistently well he does, the fact that it took him like all those seasons to finally have an off start like that, to me, speaks volumes about his ability.
I mean, we're going to see him at the top of cross conference, anyways. It's not.
I was gonna say. I know he's doing well in the other, so I'm sure this is like a blip.
He's actually kind of struggling this season besides pro. Like uncharacteristically.
Really? That is uncharacteristic.
But I mean, I have a lot of faith in him as someone who's just on like 2 teams with him. Like we're helping. We're trying to work the kinks out and get him back on track in the series. Especially in Hero. Hero, he struggled last season. He went just under 500 in the regular season, and had a rough playoffs, but I think it can start this week definitely. Genji's an outstanding player as well, though.
Yeah,
I mean, he's gone because of he's newer, so he's got that like that new player PR bump where he went from
Right.
475 to 550 in like 3 matches.
But I think he's also a pretty well established. He was
Yeah.
a pretty well established player before he came to THL because I feel like I recognize the name. At least that's what I believe.
He played draft series. I know that he played the off-season event we did.
But I think also wasn't he like
I have no
maybe
clue.
I'm mistaken. I feel like I've heard of his name come
gotcha.
up with like open
Maybe.
cups or something. I don't know. It's
maybe,
it's
yeah.
hard to gauge, but that's just what I thought. But either way, this is one of those rare situations where I feel rather comfortable betting against Neji, and not even just because I want APM Yang to win, but also because, a 3-0 versus an 0-3. Neji could certainly pull out the win, but this is definitely going to be an uphill battle for him in general. As Jammies versus Rabobson, I actually think is...
Oh, man.
That's probably one of the closest matches to call, I would say, because both of these guys are very, strong 2 seeds that could easily play the 1 seed. I think of them, I compare them very similarly to each other. But I will give the slight edge to Rabobson based on record and based on overall PR. Itachi obviously already won his match. Chewbacca versus Waifair. I mean, I love Shu. I think he's definitely got a good shot here, but just to make sure I can well, hold on a second, actually. You know what? I have to bet that APM Yang wins. So I'm sorry. I actually am going to bet Jammies wins against Rabobson, Waifair wins against Chewbacca, and then Fish wins against Nomad Farmer, because I can't in good conscience bet against Fish there. So kind of have to go there. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know you have to root for APM Yang. I think this is probably the only time that JR is rooting against another one of his co-hosts today. So,
yeah, I think...
I mean, I don't look at it as rooting against Fish because I still want him to win his individual match. But, in good, it's it's, I want, I am going to cheer for the other APM teams, particularly APM Yang. And also F2L Black, as you've kind of seen with the standings, they're right on our tail at the moment. So we're definitely thinking that it would be good if we can, if this is a situation where if APM Yang wins, not only does that help us further our lead against F2L Black, but because APM Yang is in a different conference, we don't have to worry about their massive point gain having a negative impact on us.
Yeah, and you do bring up a good point about the cross-conference part of it, is that both of these teams could very well be at the top of their conference. So this is this match doesn't exactly have implications of removing one of their opponents from their own conferences, but it does give them a better chance in against the other people in their conference, just making sure that they have the edge and have those little few extra points to make it and maybe get the buys here.
Exactly, which is I think that's a very good way of putting it, because it does emphasize that even if the cross-conference matches don't necessarily seem as impactful compared to matches within the same conference, they do still have a big impact, both for the reasons you mentioned, and also because at the end of the day, it's, some of the playoff teams are going to be decided based on who has the most points between both conferences after the top 2 teams are picked. So if you're doing well in these matches, that can really end up playing a big part in that side of the playoff calculation.
This is going to be a good match. I feel like my team's going to be ready to go. Rabobson has been playing outstanding Hearthstone. And even if he's not playing his necessarily what he would call his best, he's still getting wins.
Yeah.
So I think
it's like a win's a win at this point, right?
I think Shu will definitely get it turned around this week. I know Waifair is a good opponent. I only have one head-to-head win against Waifair in 4 times that we've played. But I'm excited to play Nomad Farmer. He's had a rough season and I definitely like I'm not gonna take anything for granted on the match. Neji versus Genji is super interesting. We'll get to see that on stream tomorrow. We'll get to see that, I think, potentially on stream on Friday.
I was gonna say I'd love to see that match or Rabobson versus Jammies on stream. Those would both be
Yeah,
fantastic.
I think Rebob's playing pretty. I think they're playing like at some obscure time because Rebobson's in the UK.
I was gonna say
but
that always ends up being a factor, like an issue at times. So I get that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, good on Itachi. Like, I'm just happy. I'm super happy for Itachi. I'll close out. Just super happy for Itachi to get the win. He really needed it to get. I think he really needed it to get a season started.
I was gonna say
so yeah.
it's very frustrating when you start off winless, and I can also, and it's also very worth mentioning that, like, you guys have been doing very well this season, despite the fact you had 2 winless players going into this week. So Itachi getting a win is probably bigger than even he realizes, honestly.
Yeah, it really helps. Like, it kind of gives a little leeway, I guess, if you think the undefeated players will remain undefeated. Yeah, a really great match to talk about.
Only time will tell, but either way, just like the previous match, this one is going to be very interesting to watch unfold. And I'm particularly excited to see what the overall standings are going to look like when all these matches are over. Just because of how close it is right at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So any more thoughts before we head into pro?
Well, hey, you said that Neji was doing a bit better in pro, so I wonder if we can find out just how he's doing.
Yes, indeed.
Hashtag segue.
Yes, good segue. So yeah, we have JR's match up first. So we went from JR match to JR match.
Yes, we did. And fittingly enough, I picked F2L for both of those matches.
Good.
It was not intentional, I promise. I just, honestly, when I'm picking my matches, I'm often looking at what is an interesting looking match in terms of, are both teams in a really good spot? Is one team in a really good spot, the other isn't? But it could be a good underdog story.
Yeah.
It was just like, well, I see 10 players that are all really good, who we all pretty much recognize, who are going up against each other in what is going to be an epic throwdown of sorts. So yeah, I think this one's worth talking about. Oh, and to add to that, both these teams are technically undefeated.
Yeah.
Technically. Clowns Reloaded versus F2L. Although I'm really shocked that F2L doesn't even have a color in pro this time around.
They never have, as far as I know.
Well, except for the time they had
two
pro teams. So I thought after, but it's just because I'm so used to them having a color for every other series. Yeah. I'm just expecting them to just go with the tradition for that too, But I get it. It was how they start off. But yes, we've got Clowns Reloaded versus F2L. Both of these teams are stacked to the brim. But obviously we're seeing that they're looking a bit different, like in terms of records, because as we see here, we've got F2L has, Rebobson at the top with a 2-1 record, Itachi 1-1, and then the bottom 3 players, Berserk, QSNS, and Marty B, all having 1-2 records, but still having 2 wins under their belt despite that, which is pretty solid.
So I will say that when Itachi had to take a sub, that was a win for
Okay, so it's really like 2-2-1 players and then 3-1-2.
Yeah, Milo so graciously came in.
That's right. Yes, I do remember that now because I saw the announcements for that. Yeah. But then on the other side, you've got Clowns Reloaded, which has 3 players who are 3-0, that being Nails, Pascoa, and Kalis Luna. Neji being, of course, 2-1, and then Bank Yugi at the bottom being 1-1. I remember somebody subbed in for him one week, but there we go. That's right.
Mick lost.
Mick lost, but of course, as we all know, when you have 3 players that are 3-0, that kind of it's pretty easy to still win when you have that happen.
Yeah. Yes. Clowns Reloaded has lost a total of 3 matches this season.
Yep. Out of 15.
Yeah.
It's an 80% win rate. Wait, hold on. That's 4/5, right? Yes. 80%. They've won 80% of their matches so far.
But I would say F2L is one of the other huge powerhouses in their entire conference in the in Black is stack and everything. And F2L is starting off great. It's still lossless so far. So
Right.
These are the two lossless teams, two of the strongest teams in Black Conference facing off already. And yeah, I think the three GMs are going up against the big prep team, and it's not so cut and dry.
No, I would actually agree. And it's when you actually put it that way, it sounds a bit bizarre, but the truth of the matter is I think that's actually a very accurate statement because despite the fact that this team has three GMs on it, and that the other two players who aren't GMs are Neji Boston and Nails, making this one of the most insanely stacked rosters we see in pro right now, I feel like, to say it's an easy win for them is really underselling F2L, who are a team that have been known for pulling out big wins in unexpected places and who have always managed to, who have the impressive track record of finding success even when they've had various roster changes. F2L has always been managed very well by Rabobson to the point where they've have a plethora of players who have contributed to the team and managed to bring a lot of success. To me, it's like no matter what their roster is, I know they're capable of great things, and we've also seen them pull off some major upsets in the past. So to me, this might seem like very one-sided, but it really isn't. And I will also say the matches up here are very exciting, and I can't wait to see. At least one of these needs to be on stream, seriously.
Yeah.
So what do we think, though, predictions-wise, how this is going to go down? Because it's definitely not an easy call, but we should try to make one all the same.
I'm going to give the edge to Clowns Reloaded,
Naturally,
but
yeah.
I think this is going to be one of their hardest weeks. So
Yeah.
we saw a 3-2. Sorry, we've mostly seen 4-1s for them. It was actually just 4-1, 4-1, 4-1.
Right.
But I think this is going to be their first 3-2.
Okay. Oh, right, because I get you. Yeah. Because they've always had at least one other player. They've always had at least 4 wins each week. You're right about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess. I feel like that's the thing. I could easily see F2L winning this one, but it's also hard because when I look at this record to record, it's like Clowns Reloaded certainly does have the edge. But I am gonna say. I'm going to say, actually, Rabobson takes it in the 1. I'm going to say Pascoa takes it over Itachi. Kalis Luna over Berserk. Neji Boston over QSNS. And this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to cheer for my boy Marty B to beat Bank Yugi. I know even Marty B is probably thinking you're crazy right now, but I don't care.
I'd probably lean more 4-1 for Clowns. I think even though they're going against the prep monsters, they are also they're extremely good at prepping lineups together, and they practice and they just practice and play a lot of Hearthstone
right,
together and other things. So
they've got such a dynamic going for them in terms of being ready for these situations.
Yeah. So. I could see Rabobson giving Nails a run for his money for sure. I could see Berserk giving Kalis Luna a run for his money as well. I think I'd say Berserk gets the win for F2L, but I think the other forward lean Clowns. It's definitely an interesting match for sure. It's the two of the top 3 teams in Black Conference. Yeah. Especially seeing that because last week 8 p.m. and F2L tied. It's like the two teams below Clowns kind of fighting, kind of like who I would say as fighting it for that 2-3 seed, and they ended up just tying each other. That was a bit funny. But I mean, just gonna be a super solid match in general, and I'm excited to see how this plays out. So yeah, we have our next match, which Geranium has picked. We get to stay in the stay in the Black Conference this time.
Yeah. So this is Everyone's a Winner versus Taggers, which is wouldn't it wasn't talked about as sort of like the top teams of pro, but that's the thing. These are wild player teams, and these standard players have to watch out because wild players are coming over and they're going to. I forgot the copy pasta. I'm very sorry, everyone.
Standard players would be out of a job if wild players came over.
If all the best wild players came over, yeah.
I mean,
good memes. Good memes.
That's a loaded statement, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
It's a meme. It's just.
I know.
It's all from.
I know, but it's also the sort of thing that I could genuinely see someone stating unironically.
But Memnarch is 3-0 in both pro and in wild.
Yeah, Memnarch's doing well.
And yeah, most of the rest of everyone's winner is actually standard players. But I mean, the captain's also Sunday. Sunday is very classic. Everyone's a winner in wild as well. And then Taggers is actually all stars from wild. So a large percentage of this is Nothing Can Stop Us or Rumble Tusk Shakers, one of the very top teams in wild. And then Battle Tagger himself has graced himself upon this team, and I'm here for it. Battle Tagger is great. Yes. And we already have a win. Seth for Christ taking a win over Corridon here. And I don't think that this seals up the week for Taggers. They are a little bit behind just because they've played one fewer week than everyone's a winner here.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to see Rice Bowl versus Memnarch without their wild cards. That's
I want to see them with and then without the wild card.
Yeah,
that match would be great in wild too.
Can you imagine if they both played each other twice in the same week, one in wild, one in standard?
Yeah, I think
I would watch that. I would sell tickets to that event.
I think I've seen people have that before. I personally haven't, but for sure, I actually faced the same person in two different things this week myself. It's quite interesting. But yeah, this is a super. I mean, I know a lot of these players. I think the two players I'm the least familiar with are actually Karate Dum and Solo Jazz. I know who Solo Jazz is. He used to play on the Unknown Pro team. In its later iterations, Karate Dum I think was on one of the fish teams. I think he might have been on Team Trees prior to them switching from trees to fish. But yeah, these are all really really good players. So good match to definitely look out for. So yeah, and Seth versus Corridon is like a classic 3-seed hero matchup going down in pro. I love to see it. So we do have one more match left to talk about in pro.
Yes, we do.
That is the Brushy Tuna versus Swagoi match,
which was going to be my first pick until I saw it was already taken.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fish.
Yeah, you're welcome. I looked at it. I was like, do I pick? When I look for matches, I had a bunch of matches up and down in Pink Conference that I thought about picking because I've primarily tried to pick from Black Conference this season, and I looked at this match and I said, wow, like I mean I was keeping my eye on Swagoi after they had a really good week 2 weeks ago, and then they came out and got a lot of points again, and they sit tied with Brushy Tuna in Pink Conference for most points. So let's just I just want to run down the matchups. We have Ron Mexico versus Glee. We have Lotus Knight versus No Glocko. Ridiculous Hat versus Jared Pullet. And we have McBannerface versus Edelweiss. And Based Ink versus Risen. Super interesting week. There's I'm happy to see Swagoi having a great start to their season. This roster is just a little slightly different than what they've had, but these players have all played with each other in various iterations of the Swagoi teams. So putting it together, this seems like a team that is enjoying. It's probably like enjoying the meta that we have right now. The only thing I will say I am upset with is that we don't get our hat versus Edelweiss, because That would have been funny.
Whoa! Hold on a second. No. Well, okay, actually, that would be pretty
Because
funny. But
having
no,
the coin concede hosts going up against each other in pro would be great.
You know what I was gonna say? I was gonna complain about the fact that Edelweiss and Based are not going up against each other.
That would be great too.
Because two of the strongest women in Hearthstone in THL would be going up against each other.
True.
That would be an epic throwdown for the record.
It would be, yeah.
But Ridiculous Hat versus Edelweiss would also make for arguably the most hilarious match.
And maybe the fastest match too.
Honestly, though, I will say I knew Swagboy had a lot of potential. Like the thing is, if you're like me and you've been with THL long enough, you pretty much know everybody on this roster except for like maybe Jared Pullett, who hasn't been as active.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these players go back very far because like Glee and Risen were in THL for the longest time, took a break and then come back.
Yeah.
And Edelweiss was also kind of in the same boat. But funny enough, she didn't actually play as much as she did as frequently as she did before she joined pro. That was a funny thing. She actually originally played before that, and she actually made it to what happened? Oh yeah, she ended up making it to the finals of Legacy, and this was one of the matchups that we kind of talked about in the anniversary special. This was when HSA got their third title, but it was the final match actually came down to her and me, myself, and I.
Oh wow, that's a good match.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was very close. Went to game 5. I really wanted to see her team, Collective Mayhem, win, not because of anything against HSA, but because my team lost to them in the semis. So naturally, it's like, well, I kind of just want them to win now. So I feel a little less bad about my loss. Yeah. So I feel like this is a team where if you know enough about them, you realize there's a lot of talent on here. Even if you consider they also have to compete against Brushy Tuna, who are also ridiculously stacked in every way, shape, or form, even if that's more obvious.
Yeah, it's a casual Worlds player on Brushy Tuna as well.
Yeah, big banner face. He's
that's
the
true.
4 sitting at the 4. That's really good. Like
that's
a really good player to have on your team.
Casual Worlds player who made it to top 4.
Yeah, Base sitting at 1 and 2 is surprising. But I'm sure like this team as a whole has just been doing fantastically. They've lost 4 matches combined in 3 weeks, so that's both teams have only they lost 5. Sugoi's actually with a weak loss has less match wins overall because of the last 2 weeks. But I mean, just a great match overall. I had when I looked at this, I had a hard time like picking players to win. I was leaning towards I was leaning towards No Glocko in the 2. I was thinking probably Hat in the 3 and Banter in the 4. And I think I would lean more towards like maybe top 2 of Sugoi and then bottom 3 of Brushy Tuna, but I mean it's a close match all around.
Exactly.
So
none of these are easy to call.
Yeah.
I would say that with Ron is like obviously an insanely good player.
Ron's like top of crossover right now. He's absolutely destroying every series he plays.
But I think if people like me know how good Glee is,
yes, I do know how good Glee is.
Exactly. So you know that's
I casted Glee.
Exactly. Well, that and also people will recognize he's competed in a bunch of Masters tours in the past. He has repeatedly been at the top of the ladder. He is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And it kind of amazes me how much better he got when he came back to THL after taking his little hiatus. So I'm just like, God, this is a clash of titans in the 1.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of the same way about the 2, honestly, because Lotus Knight, obviously, you really could say that about all these matches. Love Lotus Knight, love Ridiculous Hat, love McMahon. I love all these guys. They're all great people. They're all wonderful. You know what? Yeah, I'm not predicting anything. This is too hard. I give up. I give up.
Go ahead, Geranium.
I mean, hey, Sugoi fans will rejoice seeing how well they're doing this season. They didn't just have one good week. They also went over no pros here last week, which is
pretty big.
Very, very good for them. Yeah. And just seeing that after the past 2 seasons of them not even making playoffs, this time they have a much better shot of it, and they're gonna hopefully prove themselves. Whether that's a very close loss here or getting a win over the current top team in their conference with Brushy Tuna.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is for those on PR watch, No Glocko is very budget right now in the series that aren't pro. So you can see him. You can see him at the very top of pro, or you can see him, maybe in the 3 seed in other series, and be scared.
Yeah, dude's good. Yeah, I remember like, I've watched him stream and play. He's fantastic. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up Pro series for the week. All really good matches that we've covered, and I mean, there's stacked matches across the board. It can get a little bit difficult to pick matches every week for this particular series, but we take the best matches or matches we find super interesting, and we get to praise these players. So yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and bring it back to the host screen where Geranium will give us a quick commercial break.
Woo!
And thank you so much for tuning in to Tavern. If you're enjoying our show, make sure you check out the Round the on the Maniacal Tournament series on Mondays and Tuesday on Hearthstone, or a similar day that you'll never guess. Perhaps you're looking for the missing 4th series, or looking to the Wild Wild West with Wild and Out. Or are you still asking, where's my content? Or we stream THL matches each night from Thursday to Sunday starting at 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. All evening match goes to be determined by caster and player availability. Side effects may include knowledge and fun. But wait, that's not all. We also have incredible matches on weekend afternoons on Schoolstone. Precise time of day is subject to availability. Speaking of which, please consider a $9 Switch channel. This subscription enables the THL team to cover the various costs of operating a website and improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. And I see something asking in our chat, what is Twitch Prime? Yep, they did that. If you have Amazon Prime or Prime Gaming, you sub the channel for free. You just hit that purple button right below the stream. You scroll down a little bit and hit that Prime sub, and we'll get that going on. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team streams live. We appreciate each and every one of you, especially to our viewers. Check out THL's other social media points of interest. The website is at Team Hearth Legends. Just kidding. It's at teamhearthleague.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us at Discord at Team Hearth League. And the THL POW podcast is coming out every single week.
I feel like you're a troll for saying Team Hearth Legends first before League.
I forgot to rewrite my prompts.
I thought I rewrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
I know I rewrote it last. I rewrote it last. Oh, I didn't do I didn't do the website.
Oops.
Wait, why didn't it save? That's so weird. Okay, I rewrote it last week. By the
That's
way,
an oof. That's a big fat oof.
Anyways,
I just rewrote it right now.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, there's our wonderful commercial break, and now back to the matches. We're gonna head into our final series. We've got Legacy, and I know that our co-host Geranium's a little strapped for time potentially, so I want to go ahead and let you two duke it out for the first match. We've got IDK versus Agent P's Golden Showers. Go ahead, Geranium, and run through the specific matchups.
Let's go. Let's do it.
I mean, how could we not? How could we not talk about this? We once again have my team facing off against JR's team. I mean, we're just gonna see a repeat of what happened in playoffs.
Bitch,
right?
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. I will come over there and I will shut it for you.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this is not the same situation that we were in at the beginning of playoffs last season. Right now, Agent P's is down 0-3. Elden Zeth Knights is up 2-1. And JR already has a result against Nails this season in Hero, a 3-0 victory over him. So that being said, Agent P's Golden Shower is going to smash you boys. Ooh, let's see. Jespine
Now you're
versus
just trying
Turtle.
to jinx me, and I am not okay with that.
Jespine versus Turtle. I'm if I have anyone replacing me against Jespine, I want Turtle in there, baby. And then Arrow versus Agent PW. We didn't even get to see Arrow versus Agent PW last time because we won too hard. Let's go, baby.
You're so mean.
Sorry about that.
I love the banter, but man, this is harsher than I expected. Damn.
No, I mean, I do honestly think that this is going to be closer than last time.
Honestly, I'm just upset by the fact that Turtle turned around and said he wanted to sub for you guys when he plays us this week. I was like, come on!
Yeah, he did sub for you guys right at the beginning of last season. by
Yeah, well, he was
almost by
originally
my
supposed to.
request.
Fun fact: he was supposed to be our main player, but he's been. He wanted to keep himself available because he didn't think he could play every week, and I think he decided he would rather, at least if he's going to play, try to help a team out and act as a sub if they need him, rather than just taking up a spot where he might need to be sub depending on the situation. I get it. It's just, of all the weeks he had to pick this up for you guys.
He's literally been playing for them all season.
Yeah,
Has he? I thought it was multiple teams.
No, he's 2-1.
Well, here's the thing is, Canoe is needing a sub every single week. So every single week I ask around, and every single week Turtle says okay.
Wait, what? Why? You know what? Never mind.
No, it's
I'll ask
okay.
that after.
That's why Turtle is a sub and has 2-1. The same.
Well, I saw.
as all the
I saw
players.
Turtle at sub for your team earlier this season, like the week 1, but I didn't realize he subbed pretty much every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just how it's worked out. I mean, I've asked around.
Turtle, you got some splaining to do.
At Turtle, the Miss player. Anyways,
Mhm.
I think this is a really interesting match. Obviously, I think Geranium's team. It's very weird to see Agent at 0-3. He's such a good player. I really hope he starts to turn it around. And it might start here, might not. I don't really know. I'm happy to see your team doing well, JR, of course.
It's been a rough start, unfortunately, because the problem is we're in a decent spot right now, unfortunately, but because of that first week where everybody lost, it's definitely prevented us from being in a better spot than we would like to be in.
Sure.
I'm definitely happy with how I'm playing overall, and I definitely think that, like, the thing that really sucked was Raptor unfortunately got a loss last week because of a misunderstanding with the banning phase. And like he was basically up 2-0 against Skittles and then had to concede because he had a class he couldn't play. So it was like, oh, okay, well, all right, that's unfortunate, but like I feel like everybody is eventually going to find their footing. I think Biz is struggling the most just because he's having the hardest time finding a grip with this meta. But I do think that, overall we're turning things around. We've won the last 2 weeks. Again, the fact, knowing what happened last season with how we lost to these guys is not encouraging. And I don't like the fact that while I've beaten Nails twice in THL, both those times were in Hero, he is undefeated against me in Legacy. So I really have to see how that's going to play out, especially because last time he swept me. So I have no idea how this is going to go this week. If I somehow manage to pull off another win, I'm going to be shocked.
I mean, I just narrative wise, this is a great revenge story, though. So like, I think the narrative is with IDK here. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
For sure.
I think this is going to be a closer match, even if we lose again. So we'll see.
For sure.
Now, if only Geranium would play so that I could play against him.
PR wise, I think I actually could have subbed in.
I know, right?
Instead of Turtle and redone the match against Jespine from last season.
I was gonna say, like, you wouldn't have gotten to play me specifically, but also let me dream.
Yeah.
One day we'll
let me dream. Damn it, that match is gonna happen one day.
Maybe in Hero, maybe we'll fight, like our 2 Hero teams will face off, and then I'll sub in or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe it's like one of those things where you have to first get to the 2 because I've been staying in the 2 in both those series lately.
Yeah, I do have to get better.
Find a way. You can do it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the next match, though?
Yes, we should. A wonderful matchup here. We have.
This is the one I picked.
This is JR's match that he has.
I'll be honest. The main reason I picked this and I let Geranium pick the other match was because I felt like it made sense for a player who's been around in THL as long as I have to pick 2 of the most long-standing franchises in THL to this day. So, I figure why not. HSA versus DMB. Led by the lovely captains, of course, of Sage and Lefty. And who DC'd?
No. Oh, Geranium took
Geranium
off.
DC'd.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Did he just, like-
Geranium was strapped for time, so it's okay.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
he wanted to make sure he was here for this.
I forgot that was the time he said he needed to leave. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, he left just in time then.
Hmm.
So this match is of course going to be pretty cool because we've got ourselves Hearthstone Academy, who are looking to get their 5th championship, but all with players who have not played on HSA before, or at the very least have not won a championship with HSA before.
Yeah.
And the Dirty Mike and the boys, who have changed themselves just a little bit. Their only main change was Saber 220 coming in for Khazgar in the 1 seed. But these guys are coming back with a vengeance. I think both of these, I think at least one of these teams is going to be making playoffs.
Probably.
Both these teams being 2-1 is a great thing to see. I really do want to see both. Oh, excuse me. I really do want to see both these teams succeed this season. Yeah. Especially with HSA, I think it would be really cool to actually see them win for the first time since their first win, where they'd have where it'd be a completely new group of people winning the championship. That would be cool to see, honestly. Because as much as I do love all the players on HSA, it's nice that they could have it would be nice to kind of diversify their reign of sorts. So that would be pretty cool. And then of course, Dirty Mike and the boys, these guys are still looking for that first championship, and they've gotten close several times before.
They have.
And even recently, they've almost made it to the finals a couple times, but just haven't quite gotten there. And I really hope that this is the season where maybe that ends up coming true. Maybe. It would be, if they do, it would be their 3rd appearance in the finals, and their first appearance in the finals in about 4 years. So that would be pretty great. Or sorry, almost 5, about 4.5 years. So I'm definitely excited by this one. And the matchups themselves are pretty exciting. Now, obviously, we see 9 Eyebrows is coming in to sub in the 1. Fish, remind me, who is the normal 1 seed for HSA?
Hockey Boys.
Duh, right.
Mr. Hockey Boys 3.
I'm just not used to seeing him in the 1 seed, even though I really should be. I really should be. But that's still a pretty good replacement right there. Astral Pog versus Ron Mexico. Ron is on fire this season. Damn!
Yeah, I'm happy for
I know
Ron.
it's not that surprising, but we've seen him have seasons where he struggled in Legacy.
I mean, last 2 seasons. He has more wins He has more wins in Legacy this season than he had all of last season. And I'm very happy for my boy.
I need to take a drink after that.
He puts the work in. He really has, and I'm happy for Ron. He seems to be enjoying Hearthstone, and doing well in THL.
I mean, he seems like a very fun guy who enjoys what he does anyway. So
yeah, he is.
He's the type of guy whose attitude I always want to emulate when I am playing in these leagues, because I can never picture him ever being too frustrated, and I find that so hard to do that I'm just I've literally said to Ron, how do you do it?
And
how do you do it?
And realistically, when he gets frustrated, it's just when he's not performing where he thinks he should be, which I think which is super understandable, because every player, when they go through rough patches, it can get kind of frustrating.
Yes.
But
he also knows how to channel that in a healthy way, which I think is the big.
No, he really does.
That's the big deal with that.
Yeah.
So, but of course, I feel like because this man is also in the chat right now, we should give a massive shout out to Chewbacca, who's also 3-0 right now,
my 4th seed,
killing it.
Yeah, good. She was doing very well this season.
Honestly, the fact that he's still in the 5 seed after all this time, we have seen him in the 4 seed, but the fact that he's still in the 5 seed, it's damn, that just doesn't make any sense. He should be at least in the 4.
Yeah,
no disrespect to you, but you've outgrown the 5 seed.
You are in
Hero. Really have. That's actually a compliment, really.
Yeah, you're doing well, honestly. Ted versus Megu. We have Cherub versus Tony Montana. Yep. And then we talked about the 5 seed
versus Lefty.
I mean,
Shu versus Lefty. Oh man, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, well, tune in tomorrow night. So.
Oh God, yes. I had no idea that was going to be on stream, but I'm glad it is.
Yeah, well, we'll run down all the stream matches once we're done with the matches here. We'll do Geranium's match as well. We did Geranium's match. My match. So we have this one. I think post match. I mean 9 coming in at the 1. I mean, I don't think he's gonna struggle against Sabretooth that much. I think if anything, it's he's at that level to play at the 1 seed. His legacy PR is quite obviously lower than his hero PR, because he just hasn't played as many seasons.
Well, right. I think that's where this becomes harder to call because
Yeah.
we know that Nine Eyebrows is able to keep up with a player like
he's like
him.
400 PR
Right,
in
but like we also
Hero.
know that he's much more of an expert in Hero, and like the difference in format does prove to be relevant a lot of the time.
Yeah, I just think his experience playing because he's made Masters tours, so he's made at least one Masters tour. Maybe two. So I think the team will get him ready for the week. I mean, I wish. I mean, I'll give a shout out to Charrot for coming back after last season and playing well in Legacy. He's a great guy. Big fan of Charup. I had the pleasure to play Tony Montana last season, and he's also a fantastic player. That'll be a great match.
That was in the 4 seed though, right?
Yes, that was in the 4. Me and Tony Montana, yeah. That was a very match that did not go my way, but it was close. So I mean, just a great match. Like I think I've said this is a great match like 5 times, but it's so hard to not just say that. Yeah, it's very hard to not just say that. And
for me, it's like it was impossible for me not to pick this match for the simple fact that not only was that match like 2 classic teams coming against each other, but also like they're both in a really strong spot right now. So that makes the idea of finding out who wins all the more exciting.
Yeah, this. I mean, I had HSA. I thought that they would do well. I thought they'd do well this season. I just wasn't sure that they'd be out to like this hot of a start where they're like 52 points. They're in that top echelon of teams scoring points at the beginning of the season even with a loss. Like they took a super close loss to Pod People last week. So yeah, big shout outs to the HSA for competing with a team that's super. That was on fire and like keeping it close and barely taking the loss.
It's also worth mentioning that despite that, like even though DMB has obviously kept their roster pretty consistent over the last few seasons, compared to the roster that they actually had that had made it to the finals twice before, Lefty's the only carryover from those rosters. So it would also be cool to see if these guys are still a very new roster coming in. It's possible Tony was there one of them.
I feel like Tony Montana is like I think I was looking up like stats and I think he's been there for a very long time. He wasn't on those rosters though. Oh, the teams that like that were like finalist teams.
Yeah, so the teams it was Lefty, Surlos, Eric Koki, Dirty Mike, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on the 5th player.
I wouldn't know, unfortunately.
I don't think it was Tony Montana, but I also could picture it being him. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So great match. We'll see how it plays out. We'll get to all the stream matches after this next match. That's our Silver Conference match for the week, and now let's transition into Red Conference. We've got one last match to go over, and it is my match. I picked F2L versus Dad Legend. I picked Koska's team versus Yellow Dart's team. 2 classic captains of THL. So matches, we've got Bruto versus Honest Zabe. We've got Magnificent versus Desharmo. Itachi coming in as a sub, I believe, for Chewy against Skittles. We've got Jolt C versus Dart. And Judo Chop versus Haster. Bruto versus Zabe is a great match. Just like first thing in my head was like Bruto. Like Bruto's killing it. I think he lost the match. I think he lost his pro match versus Banter over the weekend. But like that was a match that like we were trying pretty much fit in whenever they wanted to play. To get it streamed. Like Bruto's like made Master Stores. He's like he's top NA ladder America's ladder player. And then now he's going against Zabe, and Zabe has been a consistent legacy player for season after season. Mech versus Desharmo, also very good. Seeing Desharmo back up there in that 2 seed, like he's finally getting the PR he should have in Legacy. after all these seasons. It's really good to see him doing well.
Right.
Skittles and Itachi. I mean, Itachi's just Itachi's been around for so long. At least in my eyes, he's been around for a very long time. Him and Skittles is a great matchup. Joltzy versus Dart. I think I would probably lean, like, if I had to pick, I think Dart probably just has an advantage over Joltzy. Like granted, the PRs don't always matter. But I mean, I know you might not want me to say I think Dart's gonna win, but I do think he'll probably win that one. Judo chop
I'm not in
versus,
one of those. I'm not in a mood where I'm
Okay.
dying for Yellow Dart to lose. Don't worry.
yeah, and then Judo chop versus Haster, super interesting, and I think I have teamed with Haster before, actually. And I don't know, him versus Judo is interesting. I've gotten to play Judo chop before in a match, but not Haster, so I don't really have much knowledge of like Haster. I think this match will lean towards F2L.
Right.
And I think it'll probably come up from the top 2 seeds, maybe even Itachi, and then I mean, Jolcy could get the upset. But I would lean like Judo chop, Mech, Bruto, and then if Itachi wins, it could be like a 4-1. For sure.
Yeah,
But
I could see.
but
I
like,
can see it's going a number of ways.
yeah, it could go a couple of ways for sure.
Like the thing with IF2L is, even though it's a team by Pasca, obviously,
Yeah.
this isn't like the traditional like NPH team.
No, it's not.
Where we've got like a lot of recognizable names from it. I know Joltzy has played with them before, I think.
Yeah, Joltzy
But
was their
other than-
was their 5 seed.
There we go.
Prior.
That's why I remember.
Yeah, he moved up a seed.
But like the problem is, other than that, like it's obviously a pretty you're talking about a pretty new roster. Like
Yeah.
Pasca's an amazing captain. I will
really
never
is.
deny that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I noticed that one of the things that that continues to contribute to his team's successes is the fact that you always at least see some familiar faces of people who have proven to both be really strong players and reliable when playing under his captainship.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm wondering, what's going to happen? Like, I could easily see this team succeeding, but how confidently can I predict that that's going to happen? Especially when you consider a lot of the new players on here. A lot of the players on here are fairly new, even if they're not completely new. Like Brutu and Magnificent are obviously, this isn't their first season, but they're still fairly new to THL as a whole. So against more seasoned players like Honest Zabe and Desharmo, I have to wonder, like, what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And that's not even taking into account the fact that Hearthstone is often very hard to predict in general.
Yeah.
So before going down any further rabbit holes, I'll end it at that.
Yeah, great match. Another great match that we've picked.
I will say, I do think I give the edge to IF2L
Yeah.
just based on record and based
Sure.
on overall performance right
Gotcha.
now.
Yeah, I can see that.
But obviously, there's not there's not like a huge margin of like one team over the other. I do feel fairly a bit more confident with IF2L winning, with obviously Itachi playing in. Like, obviously Skittles is really good. Him being in the 3 seed/4 seed for Dad Legend is pretty insane.
Yeah.
But this is Itachi we're talking about, like
Yeah,
I feel like there's not much else that needs to be said.
for sure.
So we'll leave it at that for now.
Leave it at that. I mean, close in points. The whole conference is close in points. So Hero is going to be Hero is turning out to be a very interesting season as a whole. But yeah, that is all the matches that we have for you tonight. I have transitioned us back to the main screen.
Or has he? Yes, he has.
I have. Or have I? And indeed I have. We have some great matches for you this weekend. Starting tomorrow night after Wild and Out, we have a Thursday Throwdown, 8 p.m. Eastern. A Legacy Silver match. We have Chewbacca of Hearthstone Academy versus Lefty2111 of Dirty Mike and the Boys. Followed up by Hero Series Purple match, Based Inc. versus Always Just in Time. That is LeBron versus at Diamond. That'll be myself and some casters. I still have to figure that out. So Friday Night Fights looks like it's going to be a lot of matches Um. Okay, so this match. This looks like last week's set of matches. I'm not 100% sure which matches are around are being picked for Friday, but there's definitely going to be a huge there's definitely going to be a big lineup of matches for Friday. And then we have Legacy. So for Salty Saturday, we're going to have two matches. Going to be Legacy Gold Eternal versus Mighty Biz. There you go. You got the 5C match from Geranium versus JR's teams. And then 9 p.m. Eastern, we're actually gonna have some wild casting. We're gonna have Wild Series, Nin City of South Sea Legends, and EPT Hopper of Rumble Tusk Shakers. That'll be a super fun match. Wild is really fun to watch, at least for me in cast as well. And finally, we don't. If you want to play Schoolstone, you can go ahead and contact me. It's we'll try and get something figured out if you want to play on the weekends on either Saturday for Wild or Sunday for Standard. And then Sunday Showdown, it looks like we have one match so far. I believe it's Ron Mexico versus Astral Frog.
You mean Astral Frog?
You beat me to correcting myself.
I'm the one who started this. I have to be the one who corrects you.
We've got HSA versus Dairy Mike and the boys again.
Just like with Koro Dad. If you call him Korodin, I will correct you that it's Koro Dad.
I call him Clutchadin, but that's.
You know, I like the sound of that. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
We call him Clutchadin because he clutched week 1 for our legacy team.
I mean, that's a compliment and a half. That's for sure.
It really is. He's fantastic. We got a great.
I think that covers it though with the matches, right?
Yep,
I think that's it for the.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean that's another exciting week in the books. I am definitely I continue to be more and more intrigued by where the seasons are going, as with every season. We've got ourselves a lot of exciting matches coming up. I think if this week is no indication, Hearth Center is going to have a lot of fun match outcomes to talk about next week on their end, and I'm especially excited to see, as we start to get closer to the halfway point, where the overall standings are going to be. Because I will say, there's some teams that I'm a little sad we didn't get a chance to talk about just due to how things went. Because Pod People still being undefeated right now,
yes,
I'm very thrilled for them. I really hope they continue that momentum, and not just because my team has already played them and we've gotten that misery out of the way. But it's pretty exciting. I mean, again, I think the way they've set this up with the 3, as much as I have had my skepticism when it comes to the 3 conferences for Legacy, I definitely think after last season they showed it can work out very nicely if you have a good plan for how many matches should be played. So, yeah, I think this is going well. I'm sad we couldn't finish this quickly enough for Geranium to stick around, but of course he'll be back next week, as will Fish and myself. If you guys obviously want to catch more THL content in addition to the stream matches that Fish mentioned, if you're a fan of Wild and Out's going to be on tomorrow evening, and then there will I forgot, Fish, did you say there will be a Thursday Throwdown?
Yeah, there's going to be 2 matches for Thursday.
Oh, right. So you've got. Oh, yeah, that's right. So you guys have, and one of those matches, in fact, is gonna and both those matches are going to be pretty exciting since you've got. You've got one of the legacy matchups that we were talking about before, and then of course a Hero Series base versus Justin.
We covered both those matches.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that is, if you're not excited for either of those matches, I have to ask you, what is wrong with you? But I digress.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, tomorrow catch Wild and Out and Thursday Throwdown. We've already discussed the weekend matches. If you are interested, remember. Oh, and a reminder: if anyone is interested in being on stream, we have a new channel in the THL Discord that you can comment in if you are interested. It is under. Oh, excuse me. It is right under the THL series section. Yep. It's the first one. It's called Stream Match Requests. From now on, if you're ever interested in playing in a match, you can comment there regarding interest, and it'll also give you a pin message that indicates who to directly reach out to if you are looking to play on a specific day/time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Fish, anything you would like to add before we go?
Nope. Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, I guess that's.
Stay safe, really enjoy the rest of your week, and more importantly, keep playing some Hearthstone. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.